Great.
All right.
Good evening, everybody. Let's call this meeting to order, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I appreciate everybody joining us early for this special meeting. I know sometimes it's a little tough with work schedules, but my hope was to be able to, have this discussion and take care of this business without keeping our public audience here until late at night. So let's begin with public audience. So members have 5 minutes to address the board. Would anyone like to speak in public audience tonight? Yes, please. And I'll ask that you, is there a sign-in thing there, Sean? Okay, great.
Okay, hello. Oops, doesn't work. Okay, we're April and Joseph Pizzato. We live at 16 County Road in Simsbury. And we wanted to address the board today with some of our concerns about the Deepwater project and maybe how we'd like to see it, if it has to happen. First of all, we'd like to see the town do an appeal. But, if we aren't successful with that, we also did a rendering of how we'd like to have it around County Road properties and in the Hoskins Road. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, alls I want to say is, we've been here in this town since 1949. We remember this town was built on farmland and tobacco land. My opinion, and many others, would like to see some farmland stayed here, worked in this town, and maybe the solar project go somewhere else. But if it's coming, I don't think we could stop it because they're big people, but we're also big too. So all I gotta say is, this here is something, this here, we own all these properties here. One, from 10, 16, 20, and 14. Where those two barns are by the stop sign, this all proposed solar, all the way up in here. By the way, there's two nice ponds in here that all the wildlife go drinking at. Deer, bear, everything. And I don't know if the solar farm is gonna affect that wildlife or not. In any event, I don't know what you call it, the town planner that makes the buffer, I don't know, but anyway, what I'd like to see, and what we'd like to see where we live over here, we're only talking, what I'm proposing is just start getting out of maybe 400 acres, I don't know. Just taking maybe 8 or to 10 acres. Let's leave this here, nothing here. Leave this open. From the White House, number 10, I think he should have at least 150 feet between his property line and a buffer. And I believe,
And also 14, which our son lives at now, too.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
well, thank you.
I don't think it's asking too much. If the solar panels do come, I don't think it's asking too much to stay at least 300 feet from the edge of the road back with a nice buffer. That way they could put their nice trees there and everything. I think everybody'd be kind of a little more comfortable if the solar farm came to have this space here and let their service road come in wherever they want over here and go all the way around, do whatever they want from there. And that's all I got to say. I mean,
Well, us and our neighbor, John Marcel, that lives at number 10, he'd like this also. He said that they're proposing to put a service road and the accent right on his property line. And of course, he doesn't want an access road along his property line, and neither do we at 14. So if that could stay near the buffer, or we're asking for 150 feet away from our property line. There's very little tree line there, and it's all on our property, the tree line that is there. So we're just asking that if there's gonna be an access road that is not on the property line, because it's gonna create all the dust and the dirt and everything's gonna just be flying. But keep it all away, and we're asking for no panels south of Hoskins. You know, we hope that happens too. You know, Christine Hilburn is pretty stressed out over this whole thing, and she's sick, and this is making her sick. So,
Yeah.
anyway, so that's
Okay.
what we're proposing.
Thank you for
Oh,
the
and
opportunity.
wait a minute, you also wanted to,
Oh, yeah.
maybe, you know, if they do put this big buffer in here, maybe they can also put some kind of a monument or sign with some sort of reference to Martin Luther King, who worked on that land, and maybe for the history of the land too, maybe some kind of marker to commemorate that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
mean,
Thank you.
we have to, if we have to accept it.
Would anyone else like to speak tonight? Yeah, Chris.
Chris Barnett, 15 Oxyoke. For the record, I'm not in a butter, but I've spoken many times in front of you. I want to encourage the board to appeal the Siting Council's decision. After reading through all of the testimony and everything that the town has prepared, everything that the abutters have filed, it's very clear that Deepwater Wind is not in this to be a good partner with the town of Simsbury. And the people who care about what happens to our town for generations to come, for my children and their children, are all of you and all of us sitting here in public audience. You know, I've mentioned before how hard all the volunteers in our town have worked for decades to create this wonderful community that we all live in. And for someone to come in and be so dismissive of the town's questions and our needs to protect public safety with our drinking water and potential soil contamination and wildlife and farmland that is historic is really sad that a company from Rhode Island that's funded by a hedge fund can come in here and take our property and change the character of our town. And I would encourage all of you to vote for an appeal, because we need to continue to fight this, because it's going to alter the character of our community for decades.
Thank you. Who else would like to speak? Yes.
Hi, I'm Linda Lowe. I live at 8 Kilbourne Road, and I am an abutter. I'm urging the board tonight to please appeal the decision about this facility. As the town has stated many times, your primary concern is the safety and well-being of the residents, and I really truly believe you feel that way. Unless we go ahead with an appeal and demand that there's proper soil and water testing performed, I really think you'd be taking a chance with the health and safety of the residents. And, you know, even the town's own environmental expert concluded that Deepwater's plan didn't meet Deep's water quality standards. And he said that the only way to know whether there's contaminants at the project site is to perform soil and water testing. And there may actually be buried dumps of chemicals on this property from past farming practices, tobacco farming, and I guess that was not an uncommon thing. And this would not have been impacted by the 12 inches of soil that is tilled up, when you do farming. But once your expert had said, once you drive 10,000 or more posts, 12 to 14 feet into the soil, you could create preferential pathways, which could, possibly not only affect private wells, but also the aquifer. So it's not just sufficient in my mind, at least, and I think the experts' mind, just to test private wells before and after, construction. I don't think that, does the trick, and just wait and see what's found. So by not appealing this decision, it takes away the town's ability to make sure that the right actions would be taken to ensure that the residents are safe. So thank you for listening.
Thank you. Who else would like to speak? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Mike Limini, 3 Kilbourne Farms. I'm an abutter and also part of a small group of citizens who have party status as part of this project. And just simply put, I'm here tonight to ask that you appeal this project. I think it makes sense to keep the town's options open. To not appeal at this point would basically be conceding and hoping for the best. And I think that you're stronger if you make an official appeal. What we found and what we knew intrinsically coming into this is that a small group of citizens who are passionate about an issue, when they come together, can make real positive change. But we also realized that with the town side by side, we were that much stronger. We're not ready to concede. We're not giving up, and we would hope that the town continues to walk side by side with us, because I do think together, whatever the outcome is, that it'll be a better outcome for everyone involved. So thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ed Robbo. I'm at 100 Hoskins Road, so I'm also an abutter, also party status. The town, in its part of this testimony, has made a lot of very good, strong points that I agree with. And I guess I would repeat what's been said. I'd suggest that the town do appeal to pursue those points. I think the most important one is that of public safety, the concern about drinking water. We do have a private well. So I think testing before and after, and not just once after, but I think for a period of years, I'd be very concerned. So continual testing. I don't know what the right period of time is. I'm not an expert and would ask for expert advice on that. But for public water as well, I think those are 2 very critical issues, and I just ask the town to continue to pursue that.
Thank you. Who else would like to speak tonight?
My name is Stacey McMahon, and I am an abutter. I'm at 6 Kilbourne Road. So I'm basically right here, right across from this southern piece of Hoskins, where there's no trees, no buffer, there's nothing. So it would greatly impact my property and, of course, my property value. But I definitely feel that the town needs to file an appeal. And I think it would be highly foolish for the town to concede or settle in any way with DWW. We lose all leverage. And it's pretty apparent based on the CSC's behavior, as we've witnessed in the past, that they really don't care about the town of Simsbury, nor does DWW. And to put public safety and the citizens of this town at risk for water contamination is just, I just think the town would be really foolish. There's too much at risk here, and to think that water contamination the possibility doesn't exist, is not, I don't think, a gamble that the town should be willing to take, whether it's public or well. And I'm going to be, just so impacted by this. And, to settle, basically, we're relying on, the Connecticut Siting Council to, be on top of DWW, which, as we can see, based on what's gone on happened down in Norwich, they haven't done their job there either. Our citizens of this town really come first.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Stephen Sutton, 45 Berkshire Way. I am in a butter. I am not a part of the group, but I do appreciate what they're doing for our neighborhood, because I do feel that I agree. We'd like to see us appeal. This is going to change the character of our town. It's going to change the whole Northern Gateway neighborhood. And of course, anything that has to do with safety concerns is of high concern to me and my kids who are in the area. But as I said, most important, this town has spent a lot of time, energy, and dollars working on the character and what type of place we want to live in. It would seem unconscionable for us not to make sure that this is done within our parameters. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak tonight? Yeah.
Rob Parisi, 11 Flintlock Ridge. I spoke at the last meeting as well, in the butter, and also a party as well. So instead of kind of going through the list of issues that I think we're all well versed in at this point, it really comes down to this executive session tonight and what the board as a group is going to do from a voting perspective, whether to pursue and continue with an appeal or not. So to me, that really becomes a more of kind of a legal discussion of what the potential outcome could be, what the potential costs could be, and does it, for lack of a better word, make sense, right, to do that. You've heard a lot of passionate folks here tonight kind of bring the passion to the table. From a leverage standpoint, without meeting that appeal deadline right now, then as town council said last week, it's over at that point. You simply have input to the CSC and they make a determination. They've kind of already shown their cards because they've already made several determinations in their final kind of ruling, right? So we know where they stand on a lot of these issues. So the question the board has to ask, and it literally comes down to you guys tonight, and ladies tonight, that is that's our only option at this point from a leverage perspective. The town and the abutters have gotten had some preliminary communication from Deepwater's attorneys, and have used the word settlement, and it's by far completely inadequate. Right, it's very general, it's very high level, and it's using wishy-washy language that we've seen in from the CSC and from Deepwater before, right? So, and I know there could be a significant cost to pursue an appeal over many years, potentially, but really, my understanding is that at least initially, to just hit that deadline, file an appeal, they were talking a very insignificant amount of money to at least kind of regroup as a town, as a board, to figure out what the ultimate strategy is going to be. Because we don't settle today doesn't mean we can't potentially settle addressing all those issues, particularly public safety, down the road. So that's why I kind of implore and ultimately begging this board to vote to appeal to give the town options. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak?
Yes, my name's John Marcel. I live on 10 County Road, and I'm a direct abutter to the solar farm. I have about 1.5 acres of property. I moved up here 6 years ago to be closer to my children, my grandchildren, who also live in Simsbury and are voters. I'd just like to talk about property values for a second. I recently received a reassessment on my property with a sizable increase. And I'm going to challenge this for a number of reasons. Number one, on the eastern border of my property, I'm a direct abutter to the solar farm. There's going to be a 8-foot high a vinyl chain link fence surrounding this solar farm, which I'll be able to view from all the windows on the eastern side of my house. Second and thirdly, there's going to be an access road that's proposed directly along the border, eastern border of my property, which will service maintenance vehicles for servicing this solar farm. I'll be able to see this also. They're proposing a 10-foot high gate somewhere along the corner of my property and County Road, which is, you know, I just never expected something like that when I moved up here. So my question really is the town really concerned about the abutters? And are you turning a blind eye to the decrease or potential decrease in property values, which I know in my case, I have a good case to win. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak? Okay. So then is there a motion to adjourn to executive session along with Jamie Rabbit, Bob DiCrescenzo, Bob Carr, Sean Kimball, and Melissa Appleby to discuss matters concerning the proposed Deepwater Wind Solar Project?
So moved. Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, then we'll adjourn.